As your moderator for a dynamic panel, a group of panelists that we have, and you'll hear from them momentarily. But I had a chance to meet Jameson, it was 2 years ago now, when I was moderating, or was I part of that? I was moderating? Was I moderating? I think I was moderating then, on a panel that included Chris Tucker and Big Tigger from B103, and Jameson responded to a question, and she told everybody in the audience how she had been bullied, and therein sparked everyone to stand up and clap for her. And because she was so brave, that's when Big Tigger said, I need you on my show, I need you to tell everybody your story. And that, I think, catapulted her, that gave her probably another ounce of confidence to start Kindness Rules, because she was 9 or 10 at the time, and she could have easily just stayed in the audience and not said anything, and she could have easily just been bullied and gotten over it, but she started a movement. Can we give her a round of applause for that? It's not every day that an 11-year-old starts a movement about kindness, especially in the world that we live in today. So we have to celebrate our children. So the news needs to be here today to see what she is doing. But it is our responsibility when we leave here to continue to spread the word about what kindness means to everybody, because this world truly needs a lot of kindness. And it starts with our children. If we can change our children, we can change our world. And it starts with them. So I'm very, very happy to serve as your moderator for this amazing panel. You'll hear from our 3 panelists. I'm going to tell you about them. All 3 of them are just amazing. I'm going to start with Lee Fuller. He's in the middle. He's a speaker, trainer, entertainer. He's achieved prominence by delivering humorous, thought-provoking presentations that inspire and ignite positive change, loaded with do-it-now tools that ensure maximum takeaway value. He blogs, he writes articles for various publications, including Success365now.com. He hosts a radio show, Cooler Talk, on WWFM, an online host for the community affairs talk show, What's Going On. He's been on several commercials, TV and radio, McDonald's, Carnival Cruise Line, Sears, Wrigley, State Farm. The list goes on and on. Yeah, we're talking about you, Lee. That's what you told us. That's what you wanted everybody to know. But that's what he does. Can we give it up for Lee Fuller? And Esther Burt Reed, who is to my immediate right, is on a mission to silence the shame with a powerful voice and message. As an advocate bringing awareness to suicide prevention amongst young people, Esther knows firsthand the devastating blow it causes, having lost her own 11-year-old granddaughter to suicide. In memory of her granddaughter, she's on a mission to encourage young people to become more proactive in speaking up and out if they are being bullied or know someone who is. She believes parents and adults need to have open, effective communication when it comes to cause-effect issue of bullying and suicide. Born in New York, she resides in Florida now. She's been invited to speak in different states and in suicide awareness events. She looks forward to building new outreach opportunities to continue to help our youth. And I just want to thank you for not being silent and spreading the word. We're very much looking forward to what Ms. Esther is going to share with us. And last but certainly not least, she has the coolest hair that I've seen. Erica James Strayhorn. She is a life, marriage, family therapist. She holds a BS in psychology from North Carolina State University, a master's of family therapy from Mercer University, owner of a private practice, Erica James Counseling, located in Midtown. The sister has it going on. Can we give it up for Erica James Strayhorn? And Erica, I want to start with you. I think that while we have parents and children here at the same time, what can parents do every single day to make sure that they are in tune with what is going on with their children? I think let's start there. And I think that we should just make sure that we can use terms that our children can understand and adults as well. Yeah.
So first of all, thank you all for coming out. It's beautiful to see all of these lovely, wonderful faces here for an amazing cause. I think one of the biggest things that parents can do is when your kids come home after school, I'm sure as most of you already do, ask them how their day was and don't accept, okay, fine, good. Actually encourage them to have a conversation. Ask them what was their favorite part of the day, what was the least favorite part of the day, what did they do with their friends, what did they learn in science class. Really ask really thought-provoking questions and don't accept just a yes or no, or it was okay or it was fine. Another thing you can do is really pay attention to their behavior. A lot of times when our children are going through anything, whether it's bullying or anything in the home, it shows up in their behavior. They might start to become withdrawn. They might not be interested in things they used to like to do, like go hang out with their friends or play football or whatever sport they were into. If you notice that their interests are changing drastically, that could be a red flag. If they're not interested in talking to you like they used to, also just different changes in their moods might be a warning sign. Another one is also their grades. If you know that your student is a great student, straight A's, B's, or even C's, and you notice that they have a drastic drop in their grades, that's also another sign. So beyond just having a conversation with your students and your children, you want to make sure you have a relationship with the school, with the staff. There's usually counselors at the school, and if you feel like those counselors are not effective, I can provide some more information towards the end on some resources, because sometimes schools can be challenging, and if they know that the parent doesn't know what tools or resources that are out there, then sometimes they kind of ignore the parent, they ignore the situation. So making sure that you have those lines of communication open with your children and with the school staff are very important.
Have you seen in your practice alone, and I guess statistics have shown as well, with the rise of social media, how that type of bullying and cyberbullying has affected our younger children now more than ever?
Yes, and the thing with cyberbullying is that it's very challenging for the parents and for the other adults in your children's lives, such as their teachers, to really get a hold and a grasp of it. Most schools have policies against social media, technology, cell phones in the school, but as we all know, the kids they always have ways to access it. So one of the things that some of the parents I've worked with, they've done is making sure that they have their children's logins to their social media pages, asking for their phones, making sure that they don't have a lock on their phone. So there's many different things you can do, but cyberbullying is still one of those very new and developing things that's going on. Just like technology is always new and developing, cyberbullying goes along right with it. So it's something that, again, you want to maybe spend time talking to your children, and again, talk to the staff and the school and find out what their policies are about cyberbullying and about technology in general.
Thank you. Leah, why are you such an advocate for this cause?
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be here, and I'm just so proud of just watching young people take initiative and take a stand and have a voice and to speak out and look at what it's created. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
But to answer the question, I'm an advocate because I'm a victim of bullying. I went through that for several periods of my life, not just as a small child, but I'll start there. And even some of my bullying started in my own home.
Wow.
With relatives. I was the darker skin of all of my siblings.
Wow.
And at some point, by the time I turned 10 years old, I really matured. I had facial hair and an enormous afro at 10 years old. I was still a 10-year-old boy, but I was hearing things like Gray Babe and Magilla Gorilla and Monkey Boy and, different things like that. And these were people who thought that just by saying those things, it was just something to laugh at. But then also, if you listen to the way I speak, I grew up in Chicago. And I grew up in the hood in Chicago. And my mother's an English teacher. So I had to speak like this because I didn't want to get the wrath of mom, so to speak. But speaking, quote unquote, correctly caused me some problems in the hood. So I had to learn to speak two languages. But it didn't stop the bullying because there were people who said I was trying to talk like a white person. I wasn't even around enough white people to know how to talk like a white person. But it didn't stop not just the verbal abuse, but the physical abuse. Because again, I said by the time I was 10, I had the facial hair and the huge afro. So it was not uncommon for the older boys to be a lot rougher with me. We had gang problems, etc., etc. So the bullying happened. So I'm really passionate about it because, and I'll tell you a little bit later, because the bullying led me also into my destiny. But I understand how also with bullying, while it can come from external forces, I found out by the time I was a teenager that the biggest bully was me on myself. I started to not love the way I looked. I was the one who put myself down. So it almost was a confirmation when I got the bullying from the outside. So that's why I'm passionate about it. Because maybe we can do some things on the inside to change what goes on the outside.
Nice, nice. Thank you for sharing that. Miss Esther, you had obviously, from your story, had been through so much. Your entire family has. Why are you on a mission so that no one feels like you feel right now?
Because it's something that you just don't get over. It gets better with time, but it never goes away. And quite frankly, this is something I would want any of you to go through. And I commend all the parents out here that have their children out here to hear this, because this is something that needs to be taken care of. It has to be dealt with. We have to teach our children to speak up and to speak out. And we have to, our parents, you have to listen. Not just listen, but you have to pay attention. It's important. It's vital. It can save a life. At my granddaughter's lantern ceremony, we were approached afterwards by two young girls who had the privilege of being friends with my granddaughter, who she also mentioned suicide too. And had they spoke up, this is something that could have been prevented. We didn't have the normal signs because my granddaughter was not bullied in the normal way of bullying. She was bullied by adults. She was bullied by family members. So, this is something that we have to take care of. And again, I think all of you parents and all of the young people out here that are here, please pay attention. Please take heed because we have to fix this problem.
Erica, I want to jump back to you, and Lee and Miss Esther have mentioned it. Bullying inside the home. You know, when people think of bullying now with their children, it's about other children, and so, like, how can we stop it, or what do we need to do to help in the familial area? Like, what can we do?
That's a multi-layered question.
Yeah, it is.
Typically, I think to kind of answer that question from a different perspective, typically a lot of the focus is on the children who are being bullied.
Did something get pulled?
So I think a lot of the focus is on the children who are bullied and not a lot of focus on the kids who are actually doing the bullying. Typically, for both kids, for both sides of it, a lot of times it does start in the home. It starts with family members, whether they're the parents or, you know, cousins or uncle or aunts or somebody, adults that the kids spend a lot of time with, and they may be aggressive in the way that they relate to the children, not really even noticing it. Again, I think it goes back to what you were saying, Ms. Esther, about speaking up. If you notice that there's somebody in your family, an adult in your family, who seems to be kind of rough with the kids or is always kind of picking on the little kid, everybody has that one kid in their family who always kind of gets picked on, that's an important thing to call them out on. And of course, there's a loving way you can do it. You don't want to call them out and make it a big, issue, but it does need to be addressed. So if you do notice that you do have that family member in your family who is kind of a bully towards the other adults and the other kids, something needs to be said to that person, because if not, I fully believe that bullies are created at home. And the kids who are bullied sometimes are created at home as well, because if you're a child and the people who you look up to take care of you are always picking on you, when you get to school, you kind of expect it to happen to school, and then you don't know that this is wrong. You don't know that, to tell somebody because you're getting it at home, and you feel like, okay, well, this is the right thing to do. On the other end of it, if you are one of the kids at school who is being bullied, when you're at home and somebody in your family bullies you, again, this is the only way you know, well, adults treat me like this, I'm going to treat other kids like this. So we really have to take more of a a familial approach to this and not just single out the kids who are involved, but make sure that we're looking at the parents and we're looking at the other adults in the children's lives, because it might not just be their blood family, it might be the people that they spend time with, whether it's mentors or camp counselors or the after school or sometimes even the teachers. Being really aware of that and not being